Welcome to the Front Seat Life podcast. This is Jessica Butts, your host and CEO and creator of Front Seat Life, where I help you be unapologetically who you are in your life, love, and business. Hi, David.
Ooh, I'm excited about this topic.
I know. You're excited about all these topics.
I love this.
Yeah, you love doing this. So for those of you who have been listening, we are doing
Talk about me. I love it.
David has been joining me.
That's one thing we had in common. It's like, everybody look at us.
We so did.
Yeah.
We did love that. We used to get all that. Remember?
Where's the spotlight? We're over here.
People would be like, you guys, wow, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, here we are.
Right.
Okay. All right, welcome back. So I have David Walthew here. He is a former boyfriend of mine, and we have this really pretty amazing relationship that has turned into just lots of learning. We're dear friends. Obviously, now he's in my home. We're recording this podcast where he's going to be on kind of every series of the Intutives and the thinking, feeling, and the judging, perceiving, because he's such a great example of this. So David is an ENFP, an extroverted, intuitive, feeling, perceiving. I'm an ENFJ. And so on episode 6, we're going to talk a ton about our differences. So it's a 38-minute episode where we're going to really talk about how the J and the P got involved with our relationship and was frustrating in a lot of different ways. But David shared on the feeling episode about what it was like to grow up as a feeling man. And today, right now, I want to talk to you about the intuitive sensing, because this, for me, this is actually why I got into doing this work. This is why I learned about Myers-Briggs. This is why I learned that I'm a weirdo.
Right.
This is how I learned I was a weirdo. This is how I've learned to be different. This is how I've learned to let my freak flag fly, how I've learned that this is my greatest asset.
Right.
But when I was growing up, it was always the weird part of me.
Right.
So 75% of the population, I call it the muggle world, are sensors. They're detail oriented. They live in the moment. They're factual. They're concrete. They want to know all of the details. They want to know the plans for everything.
Ugh.
I mean, we were talking
Security
about
guards.
Yes. Yeah.
Ugh.
The police, I call them. And so David and I were having this conversation about just different guests on the podcast. We were talking about my husband. And I asked Brian to actually be on this episode. And it was actually the most fascinating and perfect example of why I wanted him on it. But it's not going to work out because he needs too many details. He wanted to know every single thing that we were going to talk about. He wanted to know, was I going to talk shit about him, which that I completely understand. But he wanted to know, I need to know all the rules. I need to know all the details. And just today, I sent a message and said, this isn't going to work because I need us to be authentic. I need us to be transparent. I need us to just be open. And I need this to roll and fly. And there isn't anything wrong with each type. This is just about learning. And this was one of our biggest issues in our relationship, and it still is with my mom and I, as in my whole life, is that I had to learn as an intuitive, I don't work like that. And either do you.
Right.
I am you sat down. He didn't know anything I was going to ask him. In fact, as we start recording each episode, he's like, don't tell me. Don't tell me because I just wanted to come.
Because it'll be like baloney. It will seem like scripted or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so this is who we are, though. And
Right.
we're only 25% of the population. We are creative. We are think outside the box. We are woo-woo.
Right.
We are just in the moment, kind of a little bit fly by the seat of our pants. In fact, we had this conversation earlier about we have a big difference in our personality type. But part of my...
This one we have the same, though.
Oh,
this is the one we have the same.
We are so
we have differences,
the same.
This is one you and I have the same.
And we have dreams
Right.
and we have visions. And, the story you told about being on stage and having visions
Right.
that 35 years ago,
Right.
this is our same.
Right.
And so I would love for you to share your perspective, as I will certainly share my perspective, even in a deeper way about what this has been like for me to grow up in a world, basically, starting from school.
Right.
Here, take this book, read it, and I'm going to give you a multiple choice quiz to prove how smart you are.
Right.
Yet intuitives do not learn that way.
Right.
We are experiential in the moment. Let me touch it and play with it. People will say all the time, like, oh, do you want me to give you some directions on something? I'm like, no, dude. Like, if I'm not going to do it in this exact moment.
Didn't you hate it when you were a kid when the teacher said, write a story? No. And then I would say, stop. Just say, write a story. Don't. I can remember the anxiety.
All the rules.
It's about a dog and it goes to a park. No, just when they say write a story, I loved it. Did you? I know for me, like, I didn't know I had that till late. I thought everybody could do that. Did you have that same?
Yes, this is what I'm talking about. I thought I was a weirdo. I totally thought I was a weirdo. And then it got into like even college and just being like, I just don't think like the rest of these people. Or I know I'm really smart, but I do not get these scholastic grades that these people are because I can't go home and just read this book and come back and take a test. Like that does not.
That just reminded me of like in, I don't know, junior high school, maybe even high school. Did you have this, like, they'll say like, okay, guys, your grade is going to be all these quizzes, the test, and there's going to be 2, like, where you give a speech.
Oh,
and I remember all the other kids would hate the speech. But the speech or whatever, and the presentation was half the grade. I'd be like,
here's how I'm going to get a C. Here's how I'm going to get a C.
I can remember thinking, why do they hate this? Everybody's looking at you. It's your chance to talk.
And we'll have a great story.
A point of view. That's how I got through school, was the presentation that all the kids hated.
Or the free write at the end. Yeah. So the multiple choice, like a nightmare. And then you get to like, give me your perspective on, you know, To Kill a Mockingbird. Great. Right. That shit I can do. I will write you 5 freaking pages.
We had this is the thing we and I had probably the closest.
Yes. Okay. So there's the schooling and then there's the parents. So you had a sensing mom. We both married sensors. You married a sensing woman. I married a sensing man. We get these 9 to 5 jobs, this whole world. So I just want everybody to hear all of the areas of your life that can affect this. So I got into corporate America. I married this sensing man. Just today, I will be honest, I yelled in my car because I had this moment of like, I'm so fucking glad that I don't have to live like that anymore. I don't have to live in the 9 to 5. I don't have to answer questions to a man that doesn't understand who I am.
Were you able to say that when you were with him?
No, because...
Did you pretend that it was okay? I don't know if we've ever talked about this.
Did I pretend it was okay?
Or did you just think, well, this is just how it is?
I think in the beginning, I mean, we were together for 20 years. In the beginning, I didn't know any better. So let's start.
You were a kid, right? You met in school.
Yeah, I met when I was 20. Right. So let's just start with that. I didn't know any better for a very long time. Then I learned different, and I tried very, very hard to educate him on the fact that this doesn't mean I'm lazy. This doesn't mean I don't know how to pay bills, but you're good at it. Why are you busting my balls about doing it when you're awesome at it?
Right.
So then I started to push back, and it was just...
Was that hard for him?
Very.
Because he was like muscle guy and super like organized and structured, and he was real successful.
And it was just there always had to be a reason. So I remember when I said, I want to go to graduate school. I want to quit my job and go to graduate school and become a therapist. There was no part of him whatsoever that was supportive. It was all, how are we going to do this? What are the numbers? How are we going to, all the stuff? What's the plan? How are you going to pay this back? And to an intuitive, and I'm not saying that I shouldn't have done that. This is the conversation we're having, is everybody's got to know who they are and who they're with. So I felt like I did. I'm just going to be transparent. It's my fucking podcast. I guess I can say what I want. Is that I feel like I bent more than he did. Yeah. So I would come to him and try to lay out the numbers. Try, knowing it's in my backseat.
This is how long it'll take. Here.
And so much energy. I was terrible at it.
Yeah.
But I did it because my husband needed it. But then I never felt like it was reciprocated as to, can you not support my dream?
Right.
And now look what I've done.
Right.
I mean, there's a big part of that feels really empowering to me, is that I believe I had to get out of the suppression of not being supported by an S who needed to know all the details. Because you know how much money, I mean, my first year of business, I spent 81% of my money on my business. Wow. Because that's how you grow a business. He wouldn't have, and I'm going to use air quotes, allowed that.
Yeah.
There would have been no way that would have been okay with him.
The math wouldn't have worked.
Of course it doesn't work to spend 81%, but I knew that I needed to do it to get to the vision that we all have. You having the vision of you on stage and me having the vision of doing these things.
What's he think about your success now?
I don't really know, David.
He doesn't talk about it?
No.
He knows what you've done with it.
His biggest thing is he doesn't like that I talk about it, which I'm doing right now.
Does he ask you not to?
No.
But part of him must recognize what you've done on your own.
Oh, he does.
So that time when you guys were together, you must have had this intuitive thing inside. Did you suppress it?
Yes. By the way, everybody, this is not how this was supposed to go.
I'm sorry. I'm just curious.
I love that you're now interviewing me, but this is the conversation we're supposed to be having.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I love this. I just wanted to point that out that this is not.
I kind of forget this dumb microphone.
I know. This is great. This is hilarious. Did I suppress it? Yes, I suppressed a lot of things. I did. But
you had this vision and dream inside that must have been, knowing you, that must have been hard.
It was. David, I mean, it was, I call my life, okay, so we weren't going to get into this, but this is where my life was very incongruent.
But it was going well. You guys had a nice house. You had a good job.
All the S stuff.
He's like Mr. Handsome. You guys must have like the perfect picture and everything.
We did. It was perfect. Yeah. It was perfect.
But you were
and then it wasn't perfect anymore. I got to about 35.
Interesting.
And I had that moment of, I am bored.
Right.
Am I literally going to do this for the next 35 years?
Right.
Am I going to keep working in corporate America, not going back to graduate school because my freaking husband doesn't want me to do that? Am I not going to create it was just...
Did you know when you went to graduate school that it could potentially end your marriage?
Yes.
And you were willing to do that?
Yes.
Interesting.
That's why he
no regrets?
And now I know that's why he didn't want me to go, because he knew it was going to be the end of our relationship.
Because you've let the dog off the leash. Now it's running wild in the grass.
The dog off the leash.
It's not going to come back to the porch.
No.
Interesting.
No. And that is when it happened. Because he went deeper into a hole.
Right.
And I was there we went for like 5 days at a quarter, and it just became more and more and more incongruent.
But part of that intuitiveness, did you know it would work? It would work. You just knew. You had this vision.
100% I knew. You know, me, my business.
But that's hard to explain to people who don't have this.
This is exactly why we're having this conversation, David, because that's what it is.
Right.
I couldn't explain that to a censor. So intuitive people cannot explain, I have a knowing.
Yes.
I just know.
I'm having the same situation.
Yes.
It's not real. Can I share it
with you?
So I'm a musician in a band, and I love it. And it's probably the biggest joy of my life.
Absolutely.
And the guys in the band, and we're all in our 50s now, you know, and they have families and wives, and God bless them. They are happy to play. Sorry. 2 or 3 times a month.
Yep.
Their wives and keeps.
Oh.
Well, I'm at a point in my life where my kids are grown, and my girlfriend works on the weekends, and I'd play every Friday and every Saturday. I would just play.
Yeah.
And I had this vision of starting this Elton John tribute band. And I can't explain how I know it would work.
I'm so excited to hear this.
I just know it would work.
Yes.
Well, a lot of guys in the band.
How are you going to do it? What's it going to cost? How are you going to find the people? Where are you going to play?
Exactly.
Well, I don't understand. How are you going to promote it?
What's wrong with the band we're in now? How come that's not enough? And
I just want to.
I love you guys, and I want you guys to play.
I want more.
I want to do it all the time.
Yeah.
And for all my, when my kids were young, I couldn't do this.
Yes.
But I'm at a point in my life where I'm not too old that I can still do it.
Yep.
Young enough to still do it.
Yep.
So I just wanted to play more.
Yay.
So I've started this, and this is similar. And I don't have a lot of money, but I've basically taken the last of my money, and I said, I'll just put my goddamn money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
I'll go to the studio and fucking make a demo record. I don't even have a band. It's like the Archies. There was this cartoon in the set. They had like a hit song, and there wasn't really a band. It was the cartoon, and then a hit record. There was no real band.
This is amazing.
So I made a demo.
Yes, please.
I just knew.
Yes.
I couldn't explain it. It would work. And then I spent all the money on costumes, which is I love.
Of course you did.
So it's called Electric Boots, by the way. Come see us. I've got casinos already booked.
Yes.
Electric Boots.
Yes, yes. Hey people, here is your chance of a lifetime to go on an amazing, life-changing retreat in Maui with the incredible shamanic healer Jenny Dawn and I. We are teaming up our superpowers. We are putting on, again, truly a once-in-a-lifetime retreat this coming March at the Sheraton in Maui. It is Wednesday, March 13th through Sunday, March 17th. There is going to be truly life-changing content, unbelievable community, incredible other people. I am truly thinking of this as a year of therapy in 5 days. As a former therapist, I know the benefits of going week to week, but there truly is something powerful about coming together, doing all of the work in a gorgeous place. There is going to be fun. There is going to be girlfriend time. There is going to be learning. There is going to be deep, deep work, and all in one of the most life-changing places I have ever been, Maui, Hawaii. There is incredible, feminine, gorgeous energy there. We are going to be talking about all of the most life-changing life skills that she and I have, and it is going to be the best way for you to spend 5 days that I could possibly imagine. So come join us. The link is below. There are only probably 5 spots left at this point. So make sure that you grab a friend. You come, you can have your own room, a separate room, but I promise you, you are not going to want to miss the event. I cannot wait to hang out with you in Maui. See you there.
And I couldn't explain it to them.
Nope.
I don't know how to explain it. I just know it will work. Well, what if it doesn't? Well,
what if it doesn't?
In my gut, I think it will. Maybe it won't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't had a show yet, but in my heart, I don't know. I don't.
This
way
is
off track.
No, you're not.
Way
This
off
is
track.
a perfect example because
I just know it will work.
Intutive's life,
Yeah.
and when you're with a sensor and they ask you those questions of, I mean, I think about my ex stepdad and my mom too. He was a super intuitive, kind of all over the place, and he was an entrepreneur. He wanted to create things.
Did they break up?
Yeah, they got divorced.
Wait a second. Your mother.
Okay, we can't talk about this. We're on
I'm
air.
sorry. Okay. I didn't know this.
Mom, sorry. Yes, they got divorced.
I don't know the story.
I know. Well, we'll talk about it offline. Okay, backtrack.
Oh.
Okay, so
I liked him.
I know, he was very
Okay.
entrepreneurial all over the place. And my mom is very S, and she wants to know how, when, what about health insurance? What are you doing? How much is this going to cost? What's the return on investment? All the same questions Brian would ask me. What's the return on investment? When are you going to make this money back up? When? I don't know. But I know that I'm going to work my ass off until it happens. And that's all that intuitives can do. You, me, and every intuitive listening, this is who we are.
Do you feel like, as an intuitive like you, and now you're on the backside of this and you've had success and you've kind of lived your dream.
Yep.
Is it even more satisfying when they doubted it?
Oh my God, David. I'm not going to lie. It's one of my greatest.
Yeah.
It's one of my greatest feelings in my life and one of my greatest accomplishments for sure is
because
the feeling of...
Nobody else knew this.
No.
It's basically, it was inside of you. You had this feeling, thought, and everything. Oh God, just stay on this corporate path.
Yes.
You'll have health insurance. You'll have...
Guess what? I have health insurance now. It's fine.
You'll have security and blah, blah,
I don't
blah.
want that. I want freedom.
Yeah.
I don't want security.
That must feel so good.
Oh, it feels so good.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. I'm sorry. They're afraid.
I agree.
You know, I think they're afraid of us.
They are. They are because...
The 75%, they look at us, oh, they're just a bunch of crazies. They're not organized and they're just...
Yep.
But I think deep down they're afraid of it.
They are. They are because they're not going to do it. And so they're...
My mother's very much... I love my mother.
I know. And I love all the S's. That I feel a little bad because we're doing
she's like,
shit talking
her first
now,
question is, where's the health insurance? And what's the security like? And be safe. And Yeah.
So my sister, I'm going to have her on. She's coming on.
Who I love, by the way.
I know.
I love
yeah,
your
she
sister.
loves you too.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this in terms of her. She's a really good example of this. So my sister worked in corporate America. She was a juvenile sex offender coordinator.
Oh my
yes,
God.
it was as bad as you can possibly imagine. She hated every single minute of it. It was awful. And it was that feeling of, okay, am I going to retire here because they're dangling this ridiculous carrot of,
oh, imagine the benefits for the state.
right? So they dangle this carrot over you for 40 years or some bullshit. Stay here until you retire.
Right.
And she really started to buy into that.
Right.
And then she started helping me a little bit and hearing all this entrepreneur talk and seeing people do it. And the last person...
Which does not seem like somebody who would do this.
No, she's not. She's an SJ.
Right.
I have never... It was one of the most profound moments of my life and probably my mom, her, and all of our lives is... My sister didn't even realize that she needed my mom's approval because my mom is an SJ. So it was a couple Christmases ago or maybe Mother's Day or something. And my mom finally just unprovoked said, Eric, I really think you should do this. Wow. Meaning quit her job and become a full-time dog walker. So this is what my sister does now.
She loves animals.
Loves animals. She now makes 3 times the amount of money, has all the freedom in the world, has the time of her life, and literally picks up dog shit and walks dogs all day long, and she loves it. She's the dog and cat lady, dat lady, and she loves it.
When you have her, what was that last day of work like? When she's not sure this is going to work.
Yeah.
Especially for her knowing her a little bit.
Yeah. It's actually really, let me just finish that thought really quick. She, my mom said it to her, and Erica just started bawling. She broke into tears.
And she's a pretty tough cookie.
Yeah, not even realizing that she needed my mom's approval. And she needed to know that an SJ could say to her, you're going to be okay. You're going to make it. No one said that to me. Nobody said that to me. I just knew that I was going to do it. But sometimes we need someone to say, you can do it. So
sometimes somebody has to go first. Somebody has to go first and say, okay.
That's true. I guess I went first.
Yeah.
But that day that she left, she thought, this is actually a pretty funny story. Maybe she'll tell it when she comes on. But she had planned to literally take a shit on her boss's desk. Not bring in poop, but pull her pants.
She hated it that much.
She hated it that much. She was going to take a shit.
And this is the kind of job people dream of having.
Oh, no, they don't.
For the state with the benefits. But she probably heard
nightmare.
Things that you can never unhear.
It was awful.
I would imagine. Yeah.
But you're right. State, blah, you get the holidays, all the S stuff, all the security.
Right.
No one cares about. So she was going to poop on his desk. And then as it got closer, I mean, she had it planned out for like 2 months.
Not joking. She was going to do this.
Oh, she'll tell it for, yep.
Not just like,
I kind of want to call her right now. Yeah, I kind of want to call her. Yep. She was going to poop. So she decided, as she got closer, she realized it doesn't even matter.
Right.
They don't even matter because this is really powerful.
Yeah.
Because they're going to stay there.
Right.
And they're going to be bitter.
Right.
And they're going to talk about her.
Right.
And they're going to think.
Dumb her. Look what she gave up.
That.
We got Martin Luther King Day off. You know, that's how they think.
She picks up poop.
Yeah.
And she's,
right.
She's so stupid.
Right.
And yet she's ridiculously happy.
Good for her.
She used to be sick all the time. She hasn't been sick once in like 2 years. Anyway, so it's just
she's rekindled this relationship you shared a little
bit. Yes,
yeah,
she's back with her husband. Right. I mean, it's just all the stuff. Sorry, Erica. We're talking about
your business. Sorry.
We'll have you. I mean, you're coming on next week, so we'll talk about this. But yeah, it's a lot, and I'm glad that we just kind of riffed on this whole like what it's like to grow up as an intuitive.
Did you? This is for me as an intuitive. I did not know. I had this. I thought everybody could do this.
Yeah, no.
As an 8-year-old boy, when somebody walked in a room, I thought everybody could feel if they're happy, sad, what's going on in their life. I didn't really recognize it was special probably until my 20s.
Oh, mine was even later than
maybe
that.
30. And finally, eventually, we talked about this on one of the episodes, was the thing you think is your weakest thing. It actually becomes your greatest thing.
Yeah.
Now I recognize it's my best thing, but it took, I did not know. I had the same thing.
No.
I didn't know I could sing well. I thought everybody could sing well.
Oh, yeah, no. Because we're told that it's not, you're not supposed to be creative. You're not supposed to be an artist. You're not supposed to do those things. And so it's not rewarded in our culture. It's not rewarded in our society to be this way. This guy that I'm dating, and he's going to come on too and talk about this, but he grew up in a very different family, and he's super creative and they're not. And he got called names as well. And you're weird and what's wrong with you? And I kind of grew up in a very similar environment. Yeah. So did you.
Right.
And so when we learn that this thing, what you just said, the thing that makes us the weirdest is our greatest asset.
Yeah.
And when we can start learning that, the more I step into my intuitiveness, the better my business gets, the better the following, the better the messaging, the better the everything.
What would you go back, if you could talk to your 12-year-old Jessica, what would you say?
People ask me that a lot.
I think of that. Like, what would I say?
I also believe everybody has a journey, though.
Yeah, you kind of got to go through the shit.
I had to marry the wrong guy. I had to learn all the lessons. I had to be cheated on. I had to learn all the stuff. And I had to do it at the age that I did it. A lot of people say, oh, if you could have done it younger, or if you could, warn yourself. We just have to go through our stuff.
Yeah.
We got to go through the yuck to get, to see the good stuff.
It's like when the guy steals the time machine in Back to the Future. It had to you can't just say, what would the casino be like if Biff didn't steal the time machine?
We don't know.
Right.
We have no idea. Yeah. We don't know.
Right.
So people ask that a lot. I think people struggle with that question of, what would I tell my younger self? But we just don't know.
You got to go through it to get to the...
Totally.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. But I agree. Now we know that this is totally our greatest asset.
But it's hard to, if you were good at being an electrician, that's a tangible skill.
Yeah.
I could fix the lights. I could get a good job. But if I say, I'm good at, when somebody walks in the room, I can tell them what their relationship with their mom is like. That's hard to put a monetary value on.
And it's so true. And we creatives, we intuitive types have to find the thing. I will never forget one of my very first therapy clients. It was a little touch and go back then. Did not really know what I was doing. I was straight, super green right out of graduate school. And this couple was in my office, and now I know way better now, but this couple was in my office, and I remember seeing very clearly a pattern that was going on in their relationship. And I thought, they have to know this. I can't say this because they're going to fire me and they're going to be like, you're a fucking idiot. Thanks, Captain Obvious. We already know that. And I just sat there for the longest time, and I thought, I'm either going to ruin my career right now. They're going to write a Yelp review. I'm the worst therapist ever. Or I need to just say the thing that's on my mind. So I did. I said the pattern that I saw, and it was just this light bulb moment. They flipped out oh my freaking God, I've never seen this before. This is fascinating. And I remember in that moment from that day forward, and again, I was 36 years old.
Right.
And just going, okay, not everybody sees this.
Right.
Not everybody sees the patterns.
Right.
Not everybody sees the relationships the way. Not everybody sees people's energy the way that we do. Yeah. Not everybody picks up on all of that. And so, I love that you were in your 20s. I was freaking
maybe 30s. I don't know 20s. I didn't recognize that.
I just went,
everybody could do that.
Yeah, so did I. And then I was like, oh, that's a thing. And it's my greatest asset. And for you guys listening, that is your greatest asset as well.
Yeah.
And we're only 25% of the population. So if you run a business or you're trying to figure out your way in this world and you don't know how to say, someone walks into a room, how do you describe that as a skill? It is a skill. It's a people skill. It's an emotional intelligence skill. It's something that will be valued when we bring it out.
Yeah.
And not everybody gets it. But when we, again, I work with corporations, I do keynote speaking, I do trainings. And when I see companies that aren't rewarding this kind of behavior, they're doing themselves such an injustice, because likely 25% of their population can see patterns that 75% cannot, and they need to listen to those people.
I was just having this conversation. So I've come from a retail background, and a lot of times really structured people get ahead. And one of my jobs, I used to be a human resources director for multiple Macy's stores. So you'd go to the department and they'd have a manager in each department, essentially.
Yeah.
And I walk in the department and I'd say, oh my God, they promoted the fastest folder. Like there was somebody in every department
that's now managing people.
But they were the fastest folder. They could fold sweaters faster than anybody.
Not the same
fastest folder. Dude. And I could walk into a department. Oh my God, they promoted the fastest folder. Now, the fastest folder sometimes can be a good manager. But a lot of times, because they were the fastest folder, they're the shittiest with people.
Totally.
They can't fold people at all.
Yeah.
So, and that's a hard concept for corporations to get who are
they're still struggling
focused
with it.
on profits and business. Well, shouldn't we have the fastest folder in that? No, dumb fuck. You should not have the fastest folder there. Yeah. You should have the person that can get the best performance out of each unit. Yeah. The one who's going to maybe they're the shittiest folder, but they're the best at getting the best out of their team and being able to flex to each person. And I will tell you, just corporate America, now maybe it's not retail, it's whatever business they're in. You got a lot of fastest folders running departments, and they got promoted because they were the fastest coder or the best whatever. But it doesn't mean they're the best manager. Nope. And that's a huge opportunity for corporate America to dive into.
I totally agree. Yeah. And again, it comes back to innateness. Like when I go do corporate trainings and I go do keynote speaking, this is one of definitely when it gets the quietest in the room is when I talk about this, because there's those 25% in the room that are sitting there going, oh my God.
Finally. Yes.
Someone is speaking the truth right now. But this is me. Holy shit. What do I do about this?
But don't you feel like?
Oh.
You must feel this too. When you corporate. It terrifies the people up above who aren't
when they are the best organizations that actually want the best out of their people.
Like Microsoft or somebody here who's smart enough to know.
Yes. They want to actually get the best out of their people. They bring people in, like me, to tell them the truth. Yeah. Not everybody is the same. Don't promote the fastest folder to manage your people.
I want to put that on a goddamn t-shirt.
That's actually really good. Don't promote the fastest folder. Hashtag that.
But, I mean, you know how many have fastest folders are in departments?
Yes. It's in corporate America, too. How many widgets can you build?
They're just afraid.
I think it's partially that they're afraid. Probably. Yeah. Because again.
Because they look at me like I got 3 heads sometimes.
And they
look at me like I'm like, I know I'm right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know I'm right.
But again, they don't know that. Yeah. So this is the power of understanding personality type 2, is that we're so egocentric. We just are.
The world's about us.
It is. Yeah. And people actually, you're laughing. People laugh like, oh, it's a bad thing. We just are. We live in our own skin. It's impossible not to be egocentric. Like I can empathize and sympathize with you, but I'll never know what you're actually feeling because I'm not in your body. And so we are these egocentric beings, and we think everybody is like us, especially this dichotomy in particular, because 75% of the freaking population happens to be sensors. Schools are built by sensors for sensors. 9-to-5 jobs are built by sensors for sensors because they are 75% of the population. So then when us woo-woo freaks come out and are like, oh yeah, I don't really want to be here at 9 o'clock. I just will work whenever I want to work. It's 5:39 and we're sitting in my house in the dark right now doing a thing.
This does not fit.
No, this does not fit. And people don't get it. Like we can't see oftentimes the other perspective. Going back to Brian and I, like my husband, like I can try really, really hard because I loved him at the time to see it from his point of view, but I can't.
Did he remarry?
No. I love you are all over the place, by the way.
I'm just curious, like who his next partner was after you.
They're still together.
It's a girlfriend?
Yes. What's not a boyfriend.
Sorry.
Yes, it's a girlfriend.
What's her personality?
I don't know. I've only met her once. Okay. You are so random.
I'm just fascinated by that. I wonder, for him, I wonder what it's,
Very opposite from me from what I hear. Very likely an ISTJ.
Okay.
Very different from me. Isn't that funny? Yeah, very different. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah. What? Squirrel. So stay tuned. Actually, I think I'm going to end this episode on that note because I also want to talk about our archetype. So your archetype is a squirrel.
Yeah.
And mine is
We're going to do a next one?
one more.
We're ending? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Are you having fun?
That was a good one.
Are you having fun?
I love this. Oh my God. Talking about myself all day long.
Oh, okay, guys. Thanks for listening. Yeah. I'll see you on the next episode. All right. All right, everybody, I have a confession to make. I have a new obsession, and that obsession is reading your ridiculously wonderful, loving, amazing reviews on iTunes. I love them. None of this even matters without all of you. So as a thank you, each week I will be reading one review on air and calling out your review with your name or your iTunes handle. So here's how it's going to go. You're going to go to Instagram and follow me at Front Seat Life. When you hear your name called out on the podcast, you are going to send me a DM with your address and say, "Oh my gosh, you just read my review." And I or my team will be sending you some Front Seat Life swag. We've got books and we've got tank tops and we've got journals and we have these adorable pink swells. So we will be choosing from the goodie bag and sending it out as a thank you. So thank you in advance. And I am so deeply honored to have the opportunity to thank you back. Today's review comes from Heidi Meyer, or your handle is Meyer Heidi. I'm guessing it's Heidi Meyer. And your subject line is amazing! ! And she says, Jessica is a great mix of amazing knowledge and a ball of energy wrapped in one hilarious truth-telling podcast. Looking forward to every episode and can't wait to see where it goes. Thank you, Heidi, so much. Don't forget, go to my Instagram handle, Front Seat Life, send me a DM if you just heard your name, and we will send you a bunch of Front Seat Life swag. Thank you again so much. From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options, and the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, there's a couple ways that you can do that. First is always starting with your personality assessment tool. It's available on my website at jessicabutts.com. It's totally free, and it will help you figure out your personality type so you'll have some idea of what we're talking about. Next is, if you're interested in hiring me for a keynote or some coaching or strategy days or the fabulous and amazing Front Seat Life community, you can find out all about all of that at jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.